Hi, Kat Chancellor here with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I want to demonstrate a card using the Country Bouquet stamp set. Now this is a total bundle that's available in the mini catalog, and it comes with a lot of other products, one of which is this lovely ribbon. But I want to kind of show you how to put a very simple card together, and then if you stay to the end, I'm going to show you some other variations using different colors and different combinations of some of these products, particularly this die set called the Frame Florets dies, which give us this wonderful framing of little itty bitty little hearts there. It's really gorgeous. Now the paper that you'll need for this project is the Sweet Sorbet cardstock basic white, and here I'm using crumb cake. The inks are the Sweet Sorbet and the Mossy Metal for stamping our two-step stamping of our heart. And then I'm using the ribbon that comes with the bundle, and it's also teamed up with this really pretty soft, I think this is like a crumb cake. It's a really pretty ribbon, and that comes with the bundle. You're also going to need your Stamparatus, and the Stamparatus is your friend. I'm going to show you how you can use this to come up with some other ideas. So let's go ahead and get started and stay to the end so you can see some other great cards made using some of these techniques and these products. So let's get started. Before we do any stamping, we want to go ahead and cut all the pieces and parts for our cardstock. And this is our crumb cake piece, which is 5 3 3/4, and we're going to use the heart framelit, and to cut out the middle we're going to have to use that other oval framelit. Now you can use both of these together. They do nest nicely. It comes out with a nice little frame that you can use for another project. We're then just going to make sure that we have the 5 3 3/4 crumb cake is going to be layered on top of a 5 1/4 by 4 inch basic white piece of cardstock. So we're going to take our Stamparatus. We're going to lay our basic white piece first, and we're going to secure that. Then we're going to center where our crumb cake layer is going to be positioned, so that we can very carefully align our two-step stamps. Now all you have to do is you just kind of line up the heart shape, and this is just one of the layers where we want that to be, and pick that up with our Stampin' Up! Plate. And once we have that piece aligned, we're going to go ahead and stamp using our ink, and in this case we're going to be using Mossy Meadow. And I like to start with the greenery first. It kind of offers a better border before we stamp with the second stamp set. And you have to kind of play with these two-step stamps to see which works best for you when you're trying to align them, since as a photopolymer stamp you can see through the stamp and you can make sure that you have the best alignment. So now we're going to put on a fresh plate, and then we're going to lay our next layer, which are the flowers for our two-step stamp, and we're just going to make sure that they're kind of aligned nicely. And I particularly look at the two top corners and the bottom corner to make sure that they're aligned. And I'm trying to show you that bottom little flower and then that top flower. And now I'll go ahead and stamp using my Sweet Sorbet, and after that I'm going to emboss using my Versamark and some clear embossing powder. So let's just watch. So there you go. There's a great card made with our country bouquet stamp set and using our Stamparatus. But hey, let's take it to the next level. Now with this suite, the Country Lane suite, you also is featured this 6x6 gingham paper, and here's the ribbon, and we're using this stamp set right here. So let's go ahead and play up using some of the paper, the 6x6 paper, and the same card. Now what I did here for the inside of my card is I went ahead and I stamped using the little heart stamps here and cut them out using the bundle that comes with the suite, and just kind of pop them up on dimensionals to kind of give the inside of the card a little bit of pizzazz. Now what I really like about this card is that I love the sentiment. I love that we're friends. And the die that I use to cut that out is a die that comes from, and this is available in the annual catalog, but this is the mini pocket envelope die. And I just love this die. Was just perfect. I just want to show it to you here. It was just a perfect little die, and sometimes the most perfect dies come out in some of these other little die sets that are featured. I'm just going to put that here. So what I do when I play around with a product, and this is why the Stamparatus is great, is that I keep my Stamparatus off to the side, and I always have my plates lined up. Especially if I have two-step stamping, I have my plates lined up to the side, and what I do is I sit down and I will stamp a whole series of hearts, and I will cut them out, I will emboss them. This is a mask that I used for a card. I'm going to show you here in a minute. And I just go through. Now here are the same little hearts, only with these hearts what I did is I embossed them. And you can see how when you emboss the ink, it comes out a little bit brighter and more vibrant. So I just sit down, I just stamp a whole bunch of things. Now here's one. I use the gold flakes. And this is, I haven't made a card with this, but I just sit down and I experiment because I have all my stamps on my Stamparatus, and I can just take advantage of the simplicity of having the Stamparatus nearby. So with that, the next example, and here's my little heart stamp that I had for my Stamparatus. The next version of this is I took the heart, and it's embossed, but I cut it out and I put it on some gingham paper. Now if you'll notice, I'm using this wonderful die, and let me pull this out so I can show it to you. I'm using this die right here to cut out the hearts, and then as I showed you, you have to, once you cut it out, it's just going to cut out the hearts, and then you have to use the second die. You have to lay it inside in order to cut out the inside circle, the inside oval. Well, you can see that there's two layers, and I had to do that not only for the basic white layer, but I just cut out this piece on the sweet sorbet layer so that I could put it behind, and the little red hearts would kind of pop out, and that kind of creates the separate layers. This heart is cut out, but I cut out, and this is fussy cut, but I also fussy cut a second layer of cardstock, so this is a little bit more stiff than it were just one layer of cardstock. I'm using the ribbon here, and then here's my sentiment that is cut out using this little die here that fits perfectly with my sentiment, I love that we are friends. Okay, and then I didn't embellish the inside, but you can just kind of, it's just a lovely card. Okay, so then here's another example. Well, then I took, because I have my stamps on my Stamparatus, what I did is I stamped using my Versamark, and I embossed white for the flowers and then gold embossing for the leaves. I then used a mask, which is this right here, and I stamped the little mini hearts right here that come with the set, and I kind of stamped that, and I'm using basic white and crumb cake, and then I've used crumb cake ink to stamp the little hearts, and that's kind of this card. And I just had some gold thread that I used to embellish that. So here's another example, just having fun, and it's just really easy to do, and it's not hard to put together a card. Well, then the next version I have is I wanted to try a different color. So here, kind of using the same theme of my first card, is I used mint macaron and balmy blue colors right here to come up with this card. And then again, I just used the same technique using the crumb cake, the white, and then a balmy blue base card. And then this was just some ribbon that I had laying around, and I put my sentiment, I love that we are friends, and I just added some bling, some embellishments on my card. Again, I use the same technique. I stamped, and then you can see I went ahead and embossed all my flowers. And then on the inside, instead I used this this framelit here, and this cut out the circle of hearts where I could put my sentiment on the inside. Whereas when I use these together, I can go ahead and cut out an oval. So that's just a really cool card using these products. And then lastly, I did the same thing using the balmy blue and the mint macaron. I used the paper from the designer pack here, Country Gingham. I used the balmy blue gingham. I fussy cut my heart. Again, that's 2 layers, so it's nice and stiff. Just found some ribbon. I embellished it. It is embossed, so it's got a nice shiny front. Pop that up on dimensionals. This is placed directly on the cardstock, so you can see how the heart kind of pops up. And then I have, out of basic white, I cut the sentiment. But what I did is I took a sponge dauber and I used some balmy blue ink, and I just kind of gave it a little bit of hint of color around the edge so that it kind of stood out a little bit. And then on the inside, I just used some of the other stamps that are on this stamp set to kind of embellish the inside. So I would, if you're a beginner stamper, this is a great place to start. You can start making a card like this where you just stamp it directly on the paper, and then you can play around with some other products on how you can frame the card, and then you can go to the next step where you can cut the card, fussy cut your image, and then pop it up on dimensionals and just play around with the different ways that you can use your framelits and your die cut image, whether you want to cut it out or you want to leave it flat on your card, and you can just come up with a bunch of different ideas. Again, take your, play around with it, cut out a whole bunch of things, and that's when it becomes fun, when you can sit down and play, because you have a lot of pieces and parts to begin to kind of assemble instead of making one card at a time. So there are some hints, some tips, and some ideas, and I hope a lot of inspiration for using the Country Bouquet suite of products. This is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Hit like and share, and happy stamping.